Welcome everybody to the webinar on how to run market assessment or RFQs and RFQs with Solvoz. My name is Claire. It's afternoon here, but depending on where you are, I know there's morning and evening persons in this webinar. With me today is Julia Pavlenko. She's our support officer, and whenever you will send us an email, you definitely get in touch with Julia. In the next 20 to 30 minutes, we'd like to take you along and let you know more about Solvoz technology, but basically how we can support you with running market assessment or RFQs. So please, the next slide. So the objective, what I mentioned, is really to provide an understanding of our technology. And it's not that after this webinar, you should know everything. So you're fully compliant and fully aware of how it operates, but basically serving as an introduction to spark your imagination and see how we can provide value. I first will explain about our technology and what we call our PaaS procedures. Then we dig into step-by-step of these PaaS support. The second part is if you launch your own RFQs, and then there will be a short Q&A session if time allows. But first, let me give an introduction about Solvoz while we see the next slide. Solvoz is a technology, that's for sure. So if you come to solvoz.com, that's where we operate our technology, but we also have the technology deployed on other websites. What we have developed, Solvoz, is it's been developed by and for the humanitarian, health and aid sectors globally. It's to enable auditable, transparent procurement and sourcing procedures, increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of our supply chains. So we are an ISO certified technology, ISO 27001, and then the 2022 for all the technical whiskets in the call. There's a lot of features that we don't touch upon today. For example, that you have the ability to have open or closed envelopes and a lot of details. Everything you will see on Solvoz now and in the future has been contributed by actors, by our partners, by NGOs or organizations or donors that have requested a specific feature, and we constantly expand technology in this way. We have it multilingual. There is a new deployment coming up with Arab for Arabic speakers in the call. But now I'll dig into the technology. So basically, what is a PaaS? And what is a self-managed market assessment? If you go to solvoz.com, you can have a subscription on Solvoz and you can have an organizational deployment, whether it's on solvoz.com or a unique one. And then you operate it by yourself, launching RFQs, tenders, RFIs, etc. We also have the ability, which is like operating as an extended service. So basically outsourcing a market assessment. That's what we call PaaS procedures. So there's these two different versions I will explain. In the first part, I will give you a step-by-step approach on how to launch, how we operate a PaaS procedure, basically an outsourced procedure. The second part will be if you have your own subscription or if you're your own deployment, how you can launch your own RFQs. So again, first part will be a PaaS procedure. So there's basically 5 different steps that would take you along throughout this process. And we basically operate as a procurement officer that is outsourced to your and working next to your organization, where you can expect constant updates. There's a very structured and there's an auditable process. You have access to all the suppliers and competitive orders, and there's one streamlined, hopefully very efficient procurement experience for you. We'll first do a quick intake process where you have a call with our procurement leads, and they will do the intake of the process. What is your requirements, etc. The second step is information clarification, account setup, if there's any request of any thing to change or add. Then there's the actual market engagement and sourcing on our end. We will do on 4 the review and evaluation, and then we present and provide a decision. You can make your own decision. So now we'll go step by step to step 1 first. So we begin with an intake discussion to really capture your procurement needs and your preferred outcomes. So if it's really about pricing, is it about the local sourcing? Is it about sustainability criteria? Do you favor SMEs? So there's a lot of things besides the actual demand. So we also support you with setting up the specifications of items or kits. Then you can share key details such as your specifications, your budget, location preference, and the coordinator on our end will make sure that it completes and shares the intake form so you can review if our team has captured your needs exactly as you wish them to be operated on. Then step 2, we will confirm all the preferences, the key terms, whether it's public or closed, etc. So it's another check based on the intake form. We set up the procedure, and we will also assist on all your details you want to do in the system yourself, or we can do it on your behalf. Then the third step is where the real magic starts to happen. It's the active market engagement and sourcing. That's done by our team. So we constantly source and identify suppliers locally, regionally, internationally that match your needs. There's free onboarding and support from our sourcing team to the suppliers, manufacturers, or wholesalers if you allow wholesalers to take part of it. There's a separate team that's working with them. So we make sure that there's a big reach of your procedure towards suppliers on whichever location. If you say it's, for example, Uganda, Burundi, and Rwanda, we only contact suppliers in that region. We already have a database of over 400,000 vetted suppliers, and we do a constant due diligence on all of those suppliers, but it's a basic due diligence. So we check if their business address is correct, if their business number and registration is in order, if they have a physical address, if they are on any of the lists that we need to check against. If that all happens, then the suppliers can submit an offers based on your specification, again, open or enclosed envelopes as per your requirements. And then we go to step 4. So at step 4, we will run and do a review and evaluation for you. So you will get a full bid summary report based on cost, quality, compliance, supply capabilities, again, depending on the request you have phrased and requested us. There will also be a short list of top options, and we can help you assist with supplier clarifications if it needed. So basically what you get is a full report and bid evaluation assessment. And there can also be multi-criteria assessment in it. Recently, we have developed a language model, an AI application within our technology that can also run these assessments based on the information provided if you wish it to be rolled out. Then step 5 is basically handing over the reports to you. We present it. There's summary reports. And then it's up to you and your team to review and select the suppliers. We are not engaged in making the decision. So it's what we do is making sure we run the procedure according to your specification and request, and you will be handed over a full report. And not only the report, you will get the full documentation, a full folder structure with all the information required for contracting, including timestamps, all the individual responses and communication with the suppliers and vendors. So basically, that is a PaaS procedure. They're often used by organizations that have a unique request. For example, you don't source an ambulance every day. So you might not have a technical specialist on an ambulance service, for example, in Burundi. So that those kind of unique, the more one-offs. But we also support organizations that have limited capacity in during a new sudden onset emergency, or if they lack a certain subset in suppliers. For example, if you're after more sustainable green suppliers on tarpaulins or on solar lanterns, or if it's in geographic areas where you don't have a strong capacity. And recently, with a reduction in operational cost, it's also that we are contacted more and more to support with more efficient, or not more efficient, just the ability that your reach in your sourcing can expand significantly. The next slide, we will go into, I'll give some more examples of recent procedures. Some of them are already mentioned, so this is not so recent. This was in November. We run for USAID a local manufacturing of tarpaulin RFI in Indonesia and the Philippines to actually localize our sourcing of key relief items. Another example has been a RFQ for a Dutch-based international NGO, was for a new LTA for an international travel agency for their organization worldwide. But also, and this one is undisclosed, winterization clothing kit for emergency programs in Ukraine. But again, if you go to the website, you'll probably find others as well. You will not see all the procedures that are run on the technology, by the way, only the open procedures. You also have the ability to run restricted procedures, so they're not published widely, but only towards the suppliers, and they're less visible, of course. Part 2. So what I've mentioned so far to recapture is a PaaS procedure, an outsourced sourcing challenge our team gets, and we support you and provide the report to you to make your decisions. The second one is if you run your own or operate your own RFQs on Solvoz. And I mentioned here RFQ, but it could be an RFI, an RFP, and request for information, and tender or market assessment. It's all the same technology, but it's the weight and the supplier selection criteria that you add depending on your own thresholds, of course. Technology-wise, it's almost the same. And again, we connect all of these RFQs to our global database and also constantly expanding this database. So the objective of this second part, and I realize I talk way too fast as always, is to get an understanding how to get started on the technology if you launch your own RFQ, meaning you have a subscription or an account on the on Solvoz.com. And throughout, we have some videos. We use a Pakistani NGO receiving international funds for humanitarian response following the floods. Yes, next slide, please. So there are 7 steps to follow if you run your own RFQ or procedure. So step 1, obviously creating an account and manage user access for your teams. Crucial to say is we don't have a limitation on the number of users in a team. And you can also have a team under a team. Imagine that you operate in 3 different country offices, then every country office can have its own account, and under each account can be multiple project teams. But you can set up the structure as you wish again. The step 2 is creating a basket. We call it a basket or a request with a title, description, some general settings. Then you need to populate your basket. So what is actually your required demand? You can phrase this at line item in a request, or you can drag and drop items from the catalog functionality into the system. And we'll also tell you more about relevant information and questionnaires you can add. Step 4 is when you launch a request, there will be a public link if needed. You can use that throughout your communications, but every procedure on the technology has a unique URL. Then there will be, you have the ability to invite known suppliers. If you wish to let suppliers know specifically that you like to get a quote from them. But what happens also at step 5 is our sourcing team will be activated. With any subscription, there's this free sourcing support with the subscription. So our sourcing team globally will be going after new suppliers. On average, we invite 60 to 100 new suppliers on every procedure. And I put some emphasis on this one because I've mentioned previously that we have a database of over 400,000 vetted suppliers, but this database is constantly growing. I always make tell the story that my grandmother used to have the yellow pages on her coffee table, and every company in the region was in there. And if we want to get fair and equal good pricing for our quotes, we should have a fair and transparent and an open system where all suppliers could actually access your demand. And that is why, on average, we invite new suppliers constantly, and that is how our database is growing and expanding over time. Step 6, sorry, I'm diverting a little bit. Step 6 is when the closing date is there, you can make a bid summary and an evaluation, reviewing the quotations, of course, asking for clarification questions if needed, generate your reports, and at step 7, you make your decision and you can close the procedure. All right, we have some videos prepared for these step-by-step. So we do first creating the account and user management of your team. Basically, really hit the right button and get started. So on the upper one, you see sign up. So you can sign up with a username, your email address, and you can identify if you're an organization or a supplier or something else. depending, because there's two different kind of accounts. If you're a buyer, so to say, or of an organization, you get an email, you activate your account, and with the activation of your account, you will have a, of course, you have to create your password. Wait a second. So then you can go and log in. So you log in with your credentials, and then you can update your account. If you go to your account area, you have the ability to then say, all right, what is the name of your organization? What is your business registration number, if you have it ready? And all the details of the organization. Very important to say that we don't support individuals. So it's always at organizational level. Again, fill in all the details required, and our team will check the data. So we not only do a due diligence on our suppliers, the suppliers also expect us to do so on the organizations that are requesting items. So they need to know if the organization really exists and who they are. So that's what happens next. You will see then your organization. You can add users to it, so you can invite members of your team, and you can also give them different rights if they are a member or an admin. Administrators are able to access the procurement workflow. Members cannot launch any procedure. But they can clearly help you phrasing your ask. So if it's a technical procedure, you would like to have their technical expertise on setting specifications on an incubator, for example. So again, you have your user management. You can also be part of multiple teams. Imagine that you're the procurement officer of West Africa of your organization. You can be part of all the West African country office teams and switch between teams. So this was how to create an account and the user management of your teams. The next step is creating a basket, creating a demand, basically, with the general settings. So again, you log in and you go to basket. So you go to account, basket, and you can start a basket from scratch, or you can actually duplicate other baskets. Here we just copy the text. Can you pause 1 second, Julia? So you can give it a description, a name, and you can also define if it's an international procedure or a local procedure. And if it's a local procedure, you also have the ability to say in which country it should operate. And you have the ability to run an open or a restricted procedure. Open means that everybody can actually provide a quote if there's no restriction in the locality. If it's a restricted procedure, only the suppliers you invite will be able to see and access the RFQ or RFI. Thanks. Proceed, please. When you confirm, the basket is created and you will see basket items. So there's nothing in it yet. You can simply go through the catalog or add on your own individually. We'll add some clothing to the kit for the flooding, if not mistaken here. So you see here 3 different items. The items in the catalog all have generic product descriptions. If you have any request on the catalog and the reason and the development of the catalog, please contact us separately. But you can create also your own organizational catalog. So have a validated organizational catalog where your users can select from. So you define your user of your basket items, but you also have a buyer questionnaire. And you can create these questionnaires on the fly or reuse your basket items. For example, here there's a general one for, I cannot really see it, for NFIs. And this way it supports the suppliers to know all the relevant information, how you're going to evaluate, etc. What you see here is a template in use by this NGO, but you can develop any type of questionnaire to be used by your teams locally, regionally, or globally, and they can drag and drop these questionnaires into your procedure, really to streamline your work, not having outdated Excel files or emails going by, and having one structured mechanism to present the information to the suppliers globally. Yes, please proceed. We also then have supplier questionnaires, of course. And this is how you request the information from the suppliers to be handed to you on your to submit their quotes. So again, you can develop these supplier questionnaires with the information you need from them, the Incoterms or the packaging, the pricing, maybe various pricing options for various order quantities, etc. So that's the supplier questionnaires. When you're ready, you can review everything and go to the beginning, and then you can say, publish my basket. This means launching my market assessment. The moment you press that button, the market assessment will be announced, and you can also make a selection to suppliers, but that will be the next step, if not mistaken. So to recap, you can populate an RFQ basket with required demand. You can do so by making a selection from your own catalog. You can use the Solvoz catalog or create items on the fly if they're not yet into the system. The way we have set up the catalog comes with generic descriptions. For example, here we have a kit, and every item in the kit again has unique specifications. For example, a thermal gloves also defines the thickness of the fabric or the composition of the fabric, etc. This other step I'd like to zoom into for 1 second. Next slide. Is the supplier questionnaires. So supplier validation is a prerequisite for evaluation. The supplier questionnaires can be designed to ensure the reliability and do risk mitigation for you, and it helps you with efficient decision making. So for example, on the left, you will see the way you've presented how you're gonna evaluate the bids coming in. And on the right, you will see the score. You can add scoring mechanisms, evaluation criteria to those. Again, they're not enforced on it, but it's ability for you to make your own decisions or make best use of the data in the system. Next one. You can also have, again, the supplier questionnaires, phrasing your questions structurally to suppliers, but also have product specification questionnaires. For example, on if you're after tarps, but you don't know the design exactly or the sizing can be different, you can have a product specification questionnaire, or there's very other cases to do so. Next slide, please. So again, this is when you've pressed the button, the assessment or the public link is generated, and you can share that beyond the dashboard will be announced on the portal it's operating on. You can also create a QR code of that link or publish it in your newsletter, sending it off by email, etc. But the way that it's designed is that every URL is unique and all the responses come into the same box. Next one. You can invite suppliers individually to a RFQ. So that's what you've done after you launch your assessment. You can let certain suppliers know that you really relish to get a quote from them. And that means they get a special email from you to announce, hey, we really like you to submit a quote, basically. Step 6. This is the bid summary and evaluation. So this is where your reports are generated. You will have an overview of the bids on your screen, but you can also interact with our language model to help you do assessment or request information from it. But also, again, you have the assessment reports on your screen. Everything is downloadable. And also every procedure, when you close it, has a full audit trail behind it. So every interactions, every communication, change, amendment is all filed in a system that's compliant to the audits of our donors. So you have your full bid summary, all for auditability and transparency reasons. Step 7 is, then you make your decision and you can close the procedure. There's one screenshot here you see as well that on solvoz.com right now you will see 6 languages deployed. Arabic is a language that we're deploying on another portal in 2 weeks, but the language is also ready to be implemented on solvoz.com. With one of our clients, we built this language switch because they wanted to have it in more than one language. And the way we've developed it right now is that we can deploy any local or international language into the system within 2 or 3 weeks. So if you have a specific request, for example, Swahili or another language, German, that's not yet visible here, just contact us and we can make it available in another language. So I will open the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I get a first question on, you talk about different deployments. Yes, so we operate Solvoz on solvoz.com, as you saw on my screen, and what is the most visible, but we also use our technology, or it's being used on other portals. So organizations deploying their own branded version of Solvoz. So it's going to a, let's say, NGOabc.org or sourcing.org. So they have their own portal. But we also have forthcoming, so this is a sneak peek of what's coming in 2 weeks. We will launch Mabaret MENA together with Help Logistics, which is a sourcing portal specifically for the MENA region for humanitarian organizations to source from the region by the region. If you want any information on Mabaret MENA, please let us know, either Julia or me, and we're happy to tell more about it. But we also have a deployment, for example, with IDA Foundation, which is called NCD Connect, which is really targeting the NCD, the oncology, diabetes, and hypertension market. So yes, so there's some deployments. If you have specific questions on those, please let us know. How many bids do you receive? So yeah, on average, we see our users getting minimum 7 to 8 quotes on every procedure that they launch, often more, but high quality ones, on average 6 to 8 is the minimum. Communication clarification with vendor. This one response automatically reaches every other vendor. So if you can communicate one-on-one, but if it's a clarification, you can make sure that it's added to the procedure to inform all users. So it depends how that information is provided and at which step. So this is a very specific one, and there's a multiple level of answers to it. But you can add amendments to it. So for example, if there's something unclear, which you learn, you can simply add an amendment or add information to the procedure, and then all those that have responded will get an automatic notification. Hey, this procedure has changed. There's additional information added. Other questions? I know that a few of you came in a little later. You've missed the first part on the introduction of the technology. If you have questions on those, please contact us. As always, we're really happy to help you out. If there are no more questions, I'd like to thank you for your time. I really hope it was helpful. Oh, the Solvoz rank the bids automatically. Yes and no. So it's you can say, all right, the highest, the most important is price, and then it's indeed based on the weighting criteria. It's not enforced. So if you say, all right, I'd like to present the information to me according to the best pricing, that will be presented to you. If you say, all right, pricing is 20% and quality is 80%, you can also do this multi-criteria assessment and you have a ranking, basically. But it's very important for us, we don't want to we're not making any decision. So it's really the report and it's up to your team to make the decisions and move forward. I hope that answered the question. Then I'll try to close again. Thank you very, very much for your time. If you have any other questions, let us know. More than happy to help. And we're really looking forward to see you on the technology very soon. Wishing you a wonderful day ahead of you.